Long ago in the land of Judah, there lived a woman named Naomi. She had a husband, Elimelech, and 2 sons. Life was good until a great famine came. Food disappeared and families suffered. Hoping to survive, Naomi and her family moved to a foreign land called Moab. At first, things seemed to get better. Her sons grew up and married Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth. But soon tragedy struck. Naomi's husband died, and not long after, both her sons died too. Naomi was crushed. She had lost everything, her home, her family, and her joy. With tears in her eyes and sorrow in her heart, Naomi decided to return to Judah, where the famine had finally ended. She told her daughters-in-law to stay in Moab and find new husbands. Orpah kissed her goodbye and stayed behind. But Ruth held Naomi's hand and said something that would be remembered for generations. "Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God." And so the 2 widows, old and young, walked together back to Bethlehem. But a hopeful turn. Life wasn't easy back in Bethlehem. They had no money, no land, and no man to protect them. But Ruth was brave. She went into the fields to gather leftover grain behind the harvesters so they could eat. One day she found herself in the field of a kind and wealthy man named Boaz, who just happened to be a relative of Naomi's late husband. Boaz noticed Ruth's hard work and kindness to Naomi. He protected her and made sure she had plenty of food. Naomi, wise and faithful, saw God's hand moving. She told Ruth to ask Boaz to become their family redeemer, a man who could marry Ruth and restore their family name and land. Boaz, moved by Ruth's loyalty and love, agreed. A joyful ending. Soon Ruth and Boaz were married, and God blessed them with a son whom they named Obed. Naomi, who once said, "Call me bitter," now held joy in her arms. Her sorrow was turned into laughter. Obed would become the grandfather of King David, and through this family line would one day come Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world. On the lesson, sometimes life begins in pain and loss, but if we remain faithful and kind like Ruth and trust God's plan like Naomi, we will see how God can turn sorrow into joy and mourning into miracles.